Good evening. Welcome back to E20 Zone TV. I hope everyone is all well out there on this Wednesday evening. To my right is Jay, far right Lucas. Over there is the good-looking geezer Mitch, and down the bottom there is Dave Walker from the West Ham Way podcast. Before I get started, please do smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell. Dave, how you doing, son?
Oh, boys, look, I'm so pleased to be on. It's great to be with you, lads. I hope you're all keeping well. I'm all good, thanks, mate. Enjoying the calm before the storm that starts on the 16th of August, like we all are.
Yeah, I know, mate. I know. Boys, how are you all doing?
Good. I think the calm before the storm is going to happen in about 5 minutes when we expectedly get an update that Callum Wilson may be a West Ham player. So who knows?
Yeah, let's get into that. Dave, obviously this summer's been a bit of a fucking nightmare, mate, if I'm being truthfully honest. Selling Mohamed Kudus to Spurs is bad enough, and now you're going after sort of aging, injury-prone players. What are you making of all of the situation at West Ham currently, mate?
I think it's just a fuck up, really, isn't it? And I think it's a testament to the ongoing strategy that isn't at West Ham. You know, how can I put it? You've got David Sullivan, right? And this can only happen at West Ham, honestly. You've got David Sullivan that runs the show, right? He recruits managers that are of a free transfer, so he doesn't have to pay the compensation. The latest one, Graham Potter, apparently doesn't even rate. Fucking make that make sense. He then pays to bring Macaulay in and pays him a steady wage to be head of recruitment, and now looks like he's overriding everything Macaulay is giving to Graham to then speak to long-lasting agents to look at the likes of Callum Wilson, who's a 33-year-old injury croc. And it's just ridiculous. Where is the policy? Where is the strategy? Where's the structure? And once again, we find ourselves frustrated in the transfer window because as fans, I think we all know what we need. But as the owner of the football club, he's holding us back. And once again, we're scratching our heads in frustration.
Boys, I'll start off with Jay. Callum Wilson.
A load of bollocks. Really. The first fucking comment.
Okay.
It's hard to
carry on, Jay.
Dave's just summarized everything so well. It's so interesting, isn't it? Because we all, when there's nothing really to talk about, we start to focus again on the issue at West Ham, which is David Sullivan. And then something new happens. A manager starts underperforming. There's a player we all start to hate. There's a transfer we don't like. And everyone gets distracted again and forgets what the main problem is. Dave's point about Graham Potter is 100% right. We sat here, what was it, December or January? It was James, Lucas and I. We sat and talked about the manager situation when everyone was hounding Lopetegui out and Potter was on the verge. And we sat here and we're like, he's not the right man, but it's not his fault. Like, he's not going to turn down the chance to come to West Ham. And then people immediately jump on the guy's back when he didn't have enough at his disposal to manage to get a tune out of the players last season. He's not being given enough this summer. He's obviously been told you can have a striker, but it means you can't have this other position, which means, and I'm sure we'll cover this. I think what's the point in buying a striker anyway if you ain't got anyone who can create chances for him? So he's already been hamstrung, and everyone's going to forget what the main problem is, and we're all going to get distracted again. You have to remember what the real problem is. One of the first comments that come in from George Wassell. I'm sure we'll get onto the Callum Wilson thing shortly. We can't hate Wilson. We've got to hate the owner. He's 100% right. If Callum Wilson does join, I'll 100% get behind him, but he's the wrong signing and he's a symptom of exactly what is wrong at West Ham.
I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to let Lucas land and then Mitch on what they want to say about the situation. For me, it's a fucking insult. Simple as that. You're taking the piss out of all of us now. As I just said off air, you sell Mo to them up the road. That's bad enough. And now you're going after injury-prone players to get yourself out of the shit. The issue is with this ownership is that people moan about it but don't want to change it. And that just makes no sense to me. Like, we can't continuously keep doing this over and over again and going with these same old players. And then what it is, if this player doesn't work out, Sullivan's got an excuse to have a go at Potter. And I just find that's just disgusting for me. I'm seeing too many people saying it's a good signing as long as we get X, Y, and Z in midfield.
It's not.
You're hoping to get him in at the end of the day, and I just don't think it's right. Mitch, what are you saying, mate?
Sorry, do you want to let Lucas go first? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut in there.
Well, I'll let you go first, twat. Go.
All right. No, to be honest, I think there is no excuses. I don't think you can say it's a good buy as long as whatever. I don't see. I
I reckon I could pull up the free agent market and there'd be loads better options out there than Callum Wilson. The last thing we need is another injury crop player whose legs have gone. And, we've got someone like Fulkrug who, whether you rate him or not, I like him, but he's not a player with legs. He's not quick. He doesn't run the channels. So getting in a player like Callum Wilson, who's a similar kind of profile, just makes no sense as well. And he's going to be injury prone. I personally just do not understand it. I don't understand why we've not looked at the loan market as well. I don't know why. Obviously, I said about Nicholas Jackson. I know you all cut me off for it, but I'd much rather us look at Nicholas Jackson. And I know Chelsea would negotiate with us for it as well. And he's looking to leave. But I think that would be such a better signing. I know, obviously, only a season on loan, than getting this prick in who loves scoring goals against us.
we ain't gonna score no fucking goals against us. No, that's a start.
How do you know? How do you know? You never know.
Own goals, lads. There is hope. Lucas, go on, mate. I'll let you land on Callum Wilson before we move on.
I'll keep mine short and sweet. Jay's a little wrong saying you can't hate him, and I hate him. I absolutely hate Callum Wilson. I think he's a prick. I think he's pretentious. I think he's arrogant. He's not a West Ham man. But, of course, if he does throw on the kit, I'm going to have to back him to a point. But to keep it short and sweet for me, I hate him. And I am tired of these, it seems like we're always in an ultimatum situation. Like the one with today. Okay, we're going to sign Callum Wilson, but that means we can get blase. I'm sick of that. We don't have to sign him. He's shit. His legs are gone. And I don't care about the goal scoring record that he has. It's decent, but he's got no legs. We need a striker. Like Mitch said, we need some versatility inside the room, not the injury tent. Yeah,
I completely agree with you, mate. Dave, are you surprised by this, of what's going on? Or are you sort of a bit shocked that it's going the way it's going, especially getting rid of Mo and especially the way the last 5 weeks have been with West Ham?
No, I can't say that I am shocked, unfortunately, because the thing is, Jay, when you put it into perspective, nearly 10 years after leaving Upton Park and all those promises of, world-class stadium, world-class squad, taking us to the next level, if you look at the here and now all this time on, we're only looking at managers that are out of work. So we don't have to pay the compo, like I've already said. We've just finished a relegation battle, could be facing another one. When it comes to a striker that, in my opinion, we desperately need a striker that fits the profile, someone that's quick, strong, young, gets in behind. But instead, we're looking at a 33-year-old sick note. We have a sell to buy policy, even though every financial expert in the sport will tell you that we don't need to be doing that because we're financially healthy. Our training facilities are substandard, and we don't even own our own stadium. That's a worrying collective state of affairs. And the reality is this beautiful club of ours will never truly fulfill its potential whilst David Sullivan's here. So, no, I'm not surprised.
I couldn't agree with you more on that, mate. I really couldn't. But there's a lot of people walking away, Dave, which is a major concern. When you're starting to see many people from years gone by, many generations saying, you know what, enough's enough. Like, you probably get it on your podcast. We get it on here. I get it doing videos on my own. People have had enough, and people are starting to sort of walk away from the club. What I can't understand, Dave, is why the United doesn't stand for much anymore at this club. And this signing is unacceptable. It's completely unacceptable. But it seems like people are just so accepting of anything now, just to be happy. Do you know what I'm saying? And listen, West Ham's not a huge top 10 or top 6 club, right? Even I know that. I'm 38 years old, and I've seen us go down numerous times. But when you do leave Upton Park and the standard, and what you just said about the last 10 years, nothing's really changed, mate. If I'm being truthfully honest, it's just it's slowly getting worse, and the fan base is slowly diluting, mate. If I'm being honest, Dave.
That's the real sad thing about it, because the trouble is, the bigger picture is that's affecting future generations as well. There are 4 or 5-year-old kids that is going to be the future of West Ham that ain't going to be able to go now and fall in love with the club like we all did because their mums or dads or nans or granddads ain't going to be taking them. So that's the bigger picture. And then suddenly, before you know it, we've either got a stadium that's half empty or it's full of tourists. We don't want either of those. We want our own.
It's filling up now, tourists, as of last season.
Well, it is. Yeah, they're already there, but there'll be more of them. And it's a really, really sad state of affairs. And I think, with the greatest of respect, Sullivan's had a crack at this, a fair crack at this now. He can't be enjoying his time at West Ham. Fuck me, he cannot be enjoying it. And I will say this, I think because tensions are so high, if we don't start the season well, it's going to get very toxic very quickly, and we could see protests back at the London Stadium sooner rather than later. So it's a shit show, mate, at the moment. It's worrying times.
Someone, before I get to the boys' questions, Jay, Lucas, Mitch, got any questions for Dave? Someone messaged me about a week ago, about 10 days ago, and said that they was looking at doing something for the Chelsea game, like a mass walkout and things like that. So it's behind the scenes, like it's going to happen. And the way this summer's going at the minute for me, I just stand back and look at Sullivan and think, you're just taking the piss out of us all. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, going to Spurs with the begging bowl because we've got no money is one thing. Bringing in Callum Wilson here. And listen, whatever people think of Mikel Antonio, like, I'd rather have him here than Callum, if I'm being honest. Yeah. Like you got, and the way he's being sort of hounded out to bring another geezer in who, it just doesn't feel right. Do you know what I mean? It feels like that he's just handed the geezer gone. Like, do you know?
In all fairness, though, in that situation, James, Wilson would take a pay-as-you-play per basis.
I understand that. Don't get me wrong, Mitch. I understand that, but what it is, it feels like how can I put it? The morals of the club and the sort of class of the club is just going out the fucking window all of a sudden. Do you know what I mean? And 100%. That to me just pisses me off because you can't get to the root of what West Ham is anymore. Like, when I ask people, right, and probably David know this through doing the podcast, when he speaks to people and goes to events, people don't feel the love of it anymore. The spirit of West Ham seems to be fucking gone, if I'm being truly honest. Do you know what I'm saying? Jay, go on, mate. I'll let you land on what you want to say.
Mate, I honestly, I couldn't have put it any more perfectly myself, James. Like, that was absolutely spot on. And the thing that frustrates me about this the most is exactly what you said, West Ham not having any identity. And it runs the whole way through this club now. It runs from top all the way down to the fan base, like young and old. No, like, this fan base is so confused. There's so much infighting. People don't understand how grave the situation actually is. And when you try and point out how grave the situation actually is, people just start arguing with you for whatever reason. True. I wanted to touch on something you just said there about Mikel Antonio. And the second you raise Mikel Antonio, and I think it's fair to say, I don't know about you, Dave, I'll be interested to get your point on this in a moment. But I think it's fair to say that we sat here are all massive appreciators of Mikel Antonio. I'm a huge fan of everything he's done for the club. I will only speak for myself here. If we're willing to sign an injury-prone player who actually played fewer games last season than Mikel Antonio did, even though he had a life-threatening crash, on a pay-as-you-play deal, what would you rather do? Sign Callum Wilson because he's cheaper, or re-sign Mikel Antonio, who has gone through it all, still wants to play for West Ham United, is one of our own by default now, a decade of service and our top Premier League goal scorer in history, just lost his mum as well, and people are still on the timeline telling me how shit he is. Would you not stand by one of your own? Would the old West Ham, the community club West Ham, not stand by one of their own in this situation where you go, we only want someone who's going to sit on the bench. We only want someone who's going to come on for 15 minutes and who's going to see half a dozen games in the season. Do you go for Callum Wilson, who, as Lucas said, is a dickhead, is a complete dickhead, and our club? Yeah, he's disrespected our club so many times over the years, banged goals in for fun, and instead of sticking by one of your own who wants to play for the club because you've got a cheaper option, you go for the cheaper option. This club is completely lost, in my opinion. What do you, Dave? I'm interested what you think on Wilson versus Mikel Antonio. Where do you stand on it?
Well, I think they're very similar in terms of to play at the highest level. I think their legs have gone, both of them. So I'll be completely honest. In an ideal world, and I, like you, I think Mikel Antonio has been an incredible servant to his football club. I know at times we could tear our hair out with him, but he's also been unplayable on his day. All-time Premier League goal scorer, an amazing servant, right? That said, we don't owe anyone a living. And I think he's reached a time in his career now where I think he should probably be looking for a new challenge. But if our only other option is Callum Wilson, then I think I would rather stick with Mikel Antonio for the reasons that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Yeah, bang on. I agree.
I couldn't agree with you anymore.
Or even DCL to a point, in my opinion, as well. And the thing with Callum Wilson...
What, you would rather Calvert-Lewin?
No, I'd rather have Antonio still.
I'm saying, would you rather have Calvert-Lewin or Wilson?
Calvert-Lewin, even though I don't like them both. But I mean, even with Callum Wilson, he doesn't even fit the profile, really. Like
he fucking don't.
He doesn't even have the.
Apparently,
There's
talks about having a young, hungry striker behind Fulkrug. They're the fucking complete opposite.
Yeah.
It is. I must admit, I'm just going to say this. Yeah, I completely agree with what Jay just said there about the Mick Antonio thing. People will go mad at Antonio for the stuff that he has happened over the years and with him and everything. But the problem is, it's just the insult of that. Do you know what I mean? Chucking him out and bringing in his fellow podcaster. Do you know what I mean? It just doesn't make a lot of sense. I'm going to touch on something, Dave, that you mentioned this minute ago about the in-house fighting in West Ham. Why has it become so bad? And like everyone's at each other's throats for different things, really. Like there was a few years ago, it was the Moyes thing, then it was a Steiden thing, and now even people like challenging me about Sullivan. Some people are saying, "Oh, you know what? If we could, like, what can you do?" And my attitude is, well, it's best to do something than fuck all. Do you know what I'm saying? What are you saying about the in-house fighting?
Well, it's interesting because I don't really know if this has always been there, but we never really saw it because we never had social media. I think social media is a very easy outlet for people to come on and voice their concerns, or if they've had a bad day and they've got the to have a pop at someone, or if they want to be trolls because they're deeply unhappy with their own lives, so they create an anonymous profile just to give them their kicks for the day. I think we see more of that through social media, but the reality is, I think it's a problem in society. I think it is just a trip over from society. So life is hard for everyone, whether it's a cost of living crisis. I mean, it's not a politics show, but you can go on and on and on. Mental health and the suffering of mental health is at an all-time high because life is difficult. And I think sometimes that trips over to social media and people can literally vent about something in their life they're not happy with, whatever it may be. I think the other thing is as well to take it another step further. And I know it's a bit of a taboo subject, but I will be honest. If you're talking about, and this doesn't happen a lot at West Ham, don't get me wrong, in terms of infighting, but you know, in the Upton Park days, it never happened. I never saw any West Ham fans kick off each other ever. But I mean, fucking hell, I'll be honest, there is a big drug culture at West Ham, especially away from home. Massive. I've seen it. I go all the time with West Ham, especially the European tours. And I saw it kick off at Anderlecht, and it was it was so embarrassing. It was like a Western. It was a proper brawl amongst our own fans. And that's probably the only time in my life I was embarrassed to say I was a West Ham fan, because I couldn't believe we were doing it to ourselves. But again, does that relate to society now? Because is it escapism to take drugs, to drink too much alcohol? I don't know. It's a wider picture to this, James, is what I'm
saying. I agree. I agree with you on this. At Upton Park, I never see it growing up. Like, but then saying that, you'd go there, you'd watch the game. Like if you was an older person, you'd have a few beers, you know, like in the social clubs or in the bar after, wherever you used to drink, and it was basically all forgotten about. But with social media, it carries on and it goes on, and people put stuff out there in regards of like how they feel, and it clashes. Like I get it, I've had it, and you know, sometimes you just got to know how to handle it, and sometimes you've got to be a bit thick-skinned and have a bit of a fuck the world mentality. If I'm being truthfully honest, especially in social media, these boys know that. I've gone through the mill on this channel, and I've managed to come out the other side and become stronger because of it. And without these boys, I wouldn't have been able to do that, especially on my own. So, you know, I completely agree with you with the side of things. We shouldn't be in-house fighting. Everyone, and the thing is, I say it's quite a lot, that the United has to stand for something in West Ham United. And it just feels like, the ownership have took away the complete identity of the club. And all it is just a load of people going to a game, to a club that they once remembered. That's how it feels. It's like, you know, like you're watching the club, but you don't feel like the club. It just feels like a franchise. Jay, anything you want to land on that, mate?
It is weird, right? It is weird. Like Mitch, obviously, you've been both stadiums. I still have my season ticket. I'm 5 years into having a season ticket now, and there was obviously all the conversation about renewals and about, are people going to renew? Why are people going to renew, etc. I don't renew because I love the stadium. I don't renew because I love the match day experience. It's horrible. match day experience is awful, but I love the club. And I'd always dreamed of having a season ticket as a kid. I didn't live close enough. I grew up in Kent, and I'm fortunate enough now where I've moved closer into the area, and I'm in a position where I can go to every game. And I renewed this year because I felt guilty. I felt like there are people sat there who would give anything to be able to go to a West Ham game, have a season ticket, whatever. And I didn't renew because I love going to the London Stadium. I renewed because I love the club and because I know one day I won't be able to go anymore. If the match day experience, I would love to sit here and go, I renew because I love going to London Stadium, because I love going before the game. I think the build up to the game is great. I think the atmosphere is brilliant. None of that is true. I renewed because I owe it to the young kids who dreamed of being a season ticket holder and nothing more. And I know I'll be an old man one day and I'll go, remember those nights under the lights in Europe? Remember that Seville game at home when it was an atmosphere I've never experienced before and will probably never experience again. Like I'll look back on those memories and go, God, I'm grateful. But I don't renew because of a love. Like I love the club, but I don't love anything else. I would watch this team in hell. I would watch them anywhere. Yeah. But that's the only reason I renewed, not because there's anything else worth renewing for.
Lucas, you come over here. You spend a lot of money coming over here. What do you make of it all?
Yeah, it's a bit of a different situation for me compared to most, but I echo the same testament and message, really. Like, you know me, this August, God willing, if I get Sunderland away, this will be my 5th time in 5 years coming over for at bare minimum a month. Most of the time it's almost 2. But with the whole protest and everything, we talked about this on a space the other day, which I thought was very productive, and I really do hope one day all that can come to fruition. But if I go over for the love of the club and to see all my mates that I've met through West Ham, like all of you, and if there was ever a protest or something bigger to happen and it gets organized and goes through with it, I would easily stop going just to protest, because I hate the owner as much as anyone else. I think he's scum. I think he's a terrible person. How he's made a living and all of his money is grotesque, in my opinion. And yeah, I mean, but like Jay said, I go because I love the club. I definitely don't go for the pre-match experience. I'll tell you that. It's fucking shit. And that's coming from me. And people can call me a tourist or whatever may have you. I guess technically I am. But if I'm saying it, it's got to be shit.
And then you come to our pre-match events, of course, which is an opportunity to shamelessly plug.
Shameless plug, yeah, love it.
Plug these events.
That was smooth, Dave.
Yeah. Other events are available, but Dave's events are here. So yeah. One thing I will say is, Mitch, you give up your season ticket, and I'll be honest with you, mate. I've known you a while. That's the one that shocked me the most this year. When you said to me, "I'm not renewing," I was like, "Fucking hell!" This is going a bit deeper now, because I know how much you love this fucking club, mate. You go everywhere. What are you saying about it?
I hold a slightly different perspective to Jay's. I'm not saying Jay's wrong at all, because I think he's got a very good moral side to it. Mine ain't probably as moral. But I've been going for 10 years. And my first season ticket was the last season, Upton Park, and I've been going since. And just seeing, it's just seeing the comparison. I think once I had my first season ticket, I thought, I'm never going to give up my season ticket now. I'm going to have my season ticket for the rest of my life. I'll take my kids, my future kids, if I have any, touch wood, in the future, and it would just be like that. It would just be like a generational thing.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's got to a point now where if this continues and this stays as it is, and it's not going to stay as it is, it will get worse, because the atmosphere will get worse, the negativity will get worse. If the stadium don't improve, if all the problems that are deep rooted in the club in a minute with this current ownership stay, then my fucking kids in the future ain't going to want to go. Who is going to want to go? My point of view, from Jay's point of view, where he's saying, the kids that want to go nowadays, he'd feel bad. What kids? I don't think the kids will want to go in the future with how this fucking club is run. There's no atmosphere, none at the stadium whatsoever, besides from Spurs, and that's it.
Yeah, especially with the spirit of the club. Like when you used to go to Upton Park on a night game, you used to feel the buzz of it. Yeah, obviously I haven't set foot in there. Right, and I wasn't setting foot in there till Sullivan's out the door. Well, I made that clear for a long time. And don't get me wrong, it hurts on match days. I've been offered tickets to go over for like European nights, and you boys have offered me tickets before and everything. I can't do it. I can't do it because I look at it and I think Sullivan's winning the game there and people walking away. I think I don't want to say it, he's fucking won deep down because he's got all the hardcore out of there, and he's basically got a load of people in there who are the next generation. And
not
people
even that, mate. I told you a bunch of times like what him and Brady's plan was, and it's there. Like no matter what, like you just said, to you it feels like an individual battle, and I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. But again, he and Brady have executed the plan where, okay, I won't go. Then like, all right, we're still going to fill your seat, and it doesn't matter who it is.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do is try and get a ticket for face value from a season ticket holder, not pay the ticket exchange, and make them more money. That's really like the only thing you can do.
Yeah, I completely agree. Rick, thank you very much, mate. Big up, James. Love you, bro. Keep doing you. It's all of us, mate. It's all of us. Dave, let's talk about what happened a few weeks ago with Mr. Mohamed Kudus. I did hear sort of a clip from your podcast where you said about you'd ask him in an elevator about going to Spurs and all that. I completely agree with what you said. How did we come to go into Spurs to buy one of our players after 14, 15, 16 years, or whatever it is?
Well, I think that's an indicator of the state of affairs at the moment, which jumps on the back of what I said earlier on. I mean, while we're even answering the phone to those cunts is beyond me. We should not be dealing with Tottenham. Honestly, we really shouldn't. I mean, look, the bottom line is it was the only club that was in for him, because at 55 million, he does actually represent the gamble, because he was brilliant in his first season, fucking terrible in his second. So let's hope Tottenham get the kudos from the second season. But the fact that we've gone to him and we're prepared to do a deal, and Sullivan would have known how embarrassing this would have been for our fan base. You know, football is the most tribalistic sport on the planet, and the banter you have with opposition fans, and when it comes to a match day and how territorial it is, he knows and everyone knows how much it means to fans to have blagging rights and just try and be the best you can be. So to go to our rivals cap in hand and say, will you take one of our best players because we're desperate for money, is just fucking embarrassing. And as for him, I mean, the only thing I will say, putting a positive spin on it, I don't think he was one of the players that were the most productive in the dressing room. I think he was a bit of a problem. I think he had an attitude problem. So we don't want players like that at West Ham. So getting rid of him was a good thing. And if we forget the fact that we sold him to Tottenham, £55 million for a player that performed like that last season, hopefully we're going to say that that was the best £55 million we've ever spent. But time will tell. But no, absolute joke that we even picked up the phone to them.
I completely agree with you. I think all the boys said it the other week that it was just the wrong move. Like going there is like selling him wasn't a problem, but going there and the way it sort of landed, I thought was just outrageous. But Dave, why are we in this situation financially for you?
Well, I think the reason we should all be as angry as we are is I don't think we are in this situation. I don't think we are. If you look at what the likes of Kieran McKenna, I think his name is, the football financial expert.
Maguire.
He says, Maguire. Sorry, apologies, Maguire. And we've had him on the show as well, so that's my bad. But he's a nice guy, actually. Kieran, I'm thinking myself old now.
Really memorable, yeah.
Very
nice guy. I love him. Great fan.
Kieran McKenna, great bloke as well.
Love Kieran. But yeah, he's he said before that a lot of clubs are worrying about FFP and getting sort of punished for getting too close to the market. So West Ham are nowhere near it. Like, they're financially healthy. They haven't got to worry. And this is what I mean. We're doing a sell to buy policy at such a crucial time where we should be looking to invest and get ourselves out the shit, which was last season. And he's introducing a sell to buy policy, which includes one of our best players to our biggest rivals. I don't know how we're in this situation, but I don't even think this situation is actually there. I think he's just pretending that it's there to save money again, maybe. I don't know.
Do you think he's preparing to sell in the future? Do you think he's not putting no money in because he's waiting for a date or a deadline to come where he can basically have full control of the stadium and everything? Because it would make a lot of sense if you're preparing to sell, you ain't going to invest loads of money into the club. Do I agree with that? Absolutely not, because I think if you're the owner of the club, you've got a duty of care to invest into the club. And I think what you just said there is perfect. In this situation right now, right, we need investment, and
Really,
we've got an owner.
Who's gonna buy a club when you play at a ground that you don't own, right?
Yeah, but what it is, I think he's waiting, Sullivan. Right, you know what I mean? And that's the problem. He is a problem. Like, I'm not going to go into it. I let it all go the other day with him with the Callum Wilson thing. But for me, I just look at him and I think nothing changes at this club until he's out the door. Like, you're just going to have this. You're just going to have this cycle keep going round and round. And you know this, Dave, through years, like with the Sullivan era, it's always the same thing. Is right. Saying to come out, it'll be fucking false, and it'll be just like, and what he done. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to shout out to a comment that I got yesterday or the other day from a subscriber on here, which I thought was absolutely fucking superb. He said basically it was 24 hours of gaslighting. Basically, like, first off, you put out that you Potter don't want a striker, and then the very next day you come in and be the saviour with Callum Wilson, and it's just literally gaslighting the fan base yet again. Let's talk a bit of positivity. What do you make of Mr. Diouf?
Shit. I'm joking. No, I think mate, he's really exciting. Really exciting. I think he ticks all of the boxes. I was surprised that we kind of prioritised that area first and foremost, but I didn't know a lot about him. Having said that, people were raving about his performance against England, which I didn't watch. I love how old he is. I love the fact that the snippets I've seen of him, he's confident, he's composed with the ball, he's skillful, he can carry the ball forward. And I think he's got that pace, he's got that strength, that athleticism that makes a great wing back. And I think Potter is going more towards three centre halves and wing backs. And to think potentially you've got Diouf on the left and Wan-Bissaka on the right as wing backs, I think they could potentially tear it up. So I actually, and you're right, James, talk about some positivity. I think it's a great signing at a good price, actually, as well, I think.
Yeah, yeah. What do you boys think of Diouf?
You fucking know what I think.
Yeah.
Great age.
Great age.
Great age.
No, he looks good.
I think it's a really good signing. Like, really good signing. And that's the thing. You can sort of identify the signings from Potter to Sullivan. Do you know what I'm saying?
He's got a good attitude as well. I think that's probably one of the most important things as well. Like, we've got especially last season, so many disruptors in the dressing room, such as Kudus. And so having someone like Melman Diouf that seems very humble, looks like, I reckon, as I said the other week, will just come in and hit the ground running.
Carries himself like a seasoned veteran as well.
He does. He really does. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dave, what do you reckon we need in midfield, mate? Because that's the one area that everyone is bracing themselves for, because obviously last season was a fucking shambles.
Well, I think our biggest problem in recent times is that we've been constantly overrunning midfield, and we've been overrun so easily because we've lacked pace, strength, athleticism. Really, in an ideal world, we could do with 2 Declan Rices. Depending on how Potter's going to set up, if he's going to go 3 at the back with wing backs, I mean, I don't know. He might even go 2 up top. Who knows? If he doesn't go with wingers because he's got wing backs, he might play 3 centre halves, 2 wing backs, 2 central midfielders, maybe Lucas in the number 10 role, and 2 up top, maybe Fulkrug and Bowen. I don't know, but however he sets up, in terms of the middle of the park, we do need that strength, pace, and athleticism. It's so important, because otherwise we just get overrun, and then our already shaky defence and goalkeeper, as it stands, gets exposed too easily, and that's where you start seeing the batterings.
Yeah. What about you, Jay? Midfield.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said earlier, like, there's a lot of uproar from the fans that we're not spending the money on a striker. First of all, like, we know the policy. Dave's obviously covered it. That's, like, fair enough. We're going to sell before we buy anyone. But there's no point having a big marquee striker signing when we just literally couldn't create anything last year. As much as I like the 2 blokes, and, you know, like, we're not here to just discuss these guys. You look at Souček and Ward-Prowse, and they are not creative players. They're not in a team to try and play incisive balls through the lines to create a chance for a centre forward. And we don't have anyone in the side at the moment who can do that. You look at Lucas Paqueta, And Lucas Paqueta was that guy for a very short period of time. He struggled in the creative position, which again is a big symptom of why we've struggled to create chances. And is he even going to be there next season? My hunch is no, in that he either gets banned or he's the next one to go out the door because we can get 40 odd million for him. That greases the wheels in Sullivan's eyes. And then we spend that 40 million or however much money we get up front for him. So I think creatively is the biggest problem that we've got at West Ham at the moment, which is why I think Lucas is pretty aligned with me on this, which is why when there was like a link to Jack Grealish on loan, I'm like, he's a West Ham player. He's literally perfect to play as a left-sided 10 in Potter's box midfield.
Someone bring you to the fucking stadium at least. Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Get you out your seat and it'll get you excited. And he's one of those players, you hate watching him play against you, but you'd love to watch him play for you because he'll do something. He'll just go, give me the ball and I'll try and make something happen. We don't have that player who will do that. Jared Bowen in like isolation against the fullback is that guy. But deep in the pitch, like deep on transition, he's not that guy who will get on the ball and then make something magical happen. Jack Grealish is. So I really want to see a player like that. If it's not him, someone like that, of that kind of profile, join the club. Because then whether you've got Fulkrug up front, whether you've got Wilson, Antonio, even Callum Marshall, if he gets a chance, which is something I'd like to talk about. But whoever's up there, at least you have someone putting the ball into him. At least they get some shots on goal, which we were just so abysmal at getting shots off last season. So we've got to address that first and foremost.
And he's not a prick like Callum Wilson. Fuck
yeah. I'm just going to get to this comment here from David. Yeah, if Wilson comes in and let's say scores 5 to 10 goals coming from the bench, good signing then. Yeah, but I'm not being funny. We should be aiming higher than that. So what? Is he got to go and right? Well, we just got to accept it then. Well, one thing I can't stand, especially at the minute, right, and I'm going to say it because this is my fucking channel, I'll say what I want, is that it seems like fucking people just accept it. I'll just go, you know what? Oh, it is what it is. All right, yeah, we accept that. We accept that. When does it become
if buts and maybes, though? It's just, what if fucking Fulkrug scores 30 goals? Like, what if fucking we sign Grealish and he, you know, you can say anything. Like,
I can't keep hearing, oh, yeah, well, that's fine. That's fine. When it shouldn't be fine. We shouldn't be in this situation in the first place, right? And I don't want to go back on that, but like, we're one of the richest clubs. Like, I think we're in the top 20 of richest clubs, and we're going for free transfers because we've got no money. So you can't have it both ways. Do you know what I'm saying? Dave, what do you make of Potter? What's your thoughts?
I like him a lot. I worry that this job's too big for him. I worry that there's too many challenges for him. It's a big gamble that he's taken after what was a disaster at Chelsea. I worry that we could be seeing another Chelsea. Believe me, I'm not one to over-dramatise situations, be overly negative or toxic. I do believe I'm quite a positive, optimistic person. So I live in hope that this isn't going to be the case. But my prediction is that Graham Potter probably won't be here at Christmas because I do worry that the job is too big for him, in all honesty. And it's not even really his fault. I think he's just too much to do under David Sullivan. I like him. One thing I will say is when everyone came back, I don't know if you guys noticed, when everyone came back after their breaks, and I mean everyone, Potter got in absolutely everyone, from the players to the kitchen staff to the analysts to the boot man, everyone, and got them all in an auditorium, and apparently gave one of the best presentations that people have ever seen.
Really? I didn't know that.
We know of people that were in that auditorium, and they said if you as a West Ham fan would have been in there, it would have given you goosebumps. So let's hope that kind of thing resonates, because I like him and I want him to do well, but I worry for him.
I'm not surprised by that because, as all of you boys know, I've always talked about how big of a fan I am of Graham Potter. Like, as the person, I think he's absolutely stupendous, to use that word not lightly. But I agree with Dave to a point. I wouldn't say the job is too big for him, but the obstacles and the leaps and bounds and challenges, I genuinely don't think the best manager in the world could fucking get through them.
Yeah, no, that's what I meant. To be fair, that's what makes it a job that's too big, in my opinion. Too many hurdles.
Do you think there would ever be a possibility that Potter could walk away, mate, if this window carries on going the way it's going, and Sullivan keeps basically getting involved on transfers? For you,
I don't think he will. You know, I don't think he will. I mean, if it's to be believed, and I struggle with this one myself, to be honest, that Graham Potter doesn't think we need a striker, which blows my mind. But I've got to tell you, from what I've heard, he likes the players that he's got. He does like the players that he's got. He's a big fan of Fulkrug. I don't know if you know this, but he really likes him. He's been very impressed with him.
Does that not worry you, though, Dave, that he raves it? Because I look at our midfield and I think he's an absolute fucking shambles at the minute.
Yeah, I mean, that's my biggest concern, if I'm honest. We do need a keeper. I do think we need another centre-half. I think we desperately need 2 midfielders. Fulkrug, I do actually think he's a decent player. From what I've seen of him, you can tell he's very experienced and he's strong and he's intelligent, but he's still not what I believe West Ham need. I don't really want a target man. I think when you've got the explosion of Jarrod Bowen and Somerville, who we haven't even mentioned, I think potentially could be a new signing. He's a very exciting player if he lives up to the hype. You know, you want someone to match that energy and that pace and that explosion, which, forget what he's like as a person, because I think we know he's got troubles, but someone like a John Duran, I think would have been perfect up top to get him behind and use his pace and capitalise on what Somerville and Bowen are doing. And if we get him back to his best after this ridiculous fucking court case that is going on for a gazillion years, Lucas, you know, there is that creativity there. And I think Potter sees that. But I can't see him walking. I don't think he's a quitter. Doesn't strike me as a quitter. And I think he's made it quite clear that he's happy to just try and get the best out of these players.
Is he the perfect manager, Dave, for the youth? Because one thing I do hear, especially in this fan base, is that you got to play the youth. You got to play the youth. And then, like, obviously, we're signing a 34-year-old. But is Potter the perfect manager to basically integrate this youth in this season for you?
Well, he has definitely shown more interest in the academy than previous managers have. So I think the academy have found him quite refreshing. I think he's looked at them. I think he's taken an active interest. He might have had some meetings. He's been a breath of fresh air in that respect. I'll be honest with you, boys, and this is another concern of mine, because without wanting to burst any bubbles, you look at the academy at the moment and in recent times, we've been absolutely thriving with what they've achieved. They've gone out on loan and achieved. So it does then beg the question, should they not be banging on the door for some first team opportunities? My concern and my worry is that we look at what they've achieved in the academy and out on loan in lower divisions, and I worry if Potter actually thinks they're good enough. I don't know if they are.
I think,
if I'm honest, I want them to be. I'm not sure if they are.
Yeah,
I think Scholes is. I think Scholes is a. Yeah, I think Scholes is. I think I know more about Potts and Orford after this tour. And I think with Potts, it's a tricky one, because if he doesn't perform, then what do you do with him? Like, you can't loan him again. And because he's had 2 loans, do you just bite the bullet and let him go or sell him? Sort of thing. I think Casey needs a loan. I think Orford's always been the one that they've always raved about, and they've said he's the most talented one from the academy. It's Lewis Orford. So, do you know what? I think what it is this season, and I'm going to get on to that now, is like, what do you expect from the season? But I think if you can integrate a couple of these in, like your Callum Marshalls and your Pottses, it's a start. Because you've got to have if you can't fill the club off the pitch, you've got to fill it on the pitch. For me, and you've got to feel that there's a West Ham boy there, Freddie Potts. You
gotta stay realistic as well, because like I think it's just a general thing in all the football kingdom that you always overrate all your own players. Even if you're trying to just be optimistic or positive, we all overrate players to a certain point. And what Dave said, I've thought about that for a while, and I do think the academy is not what it once was, and we do try to. Obviously, you want to keep that reputation going. It's a sick mantra, sick motto to have, the Academy of Football, right? Sends chills down my spine. But like, I really don't think the academy in this current state is good enough. But again, on the other hand, we'll never know until they get their actual chance.
Exactly. Yeah, they need opportunities. And do you know what as well? I sometimes think we're in the habit of giving opportunities to young players, but if they don't hit the ground running in the first game or the second game, we never see them again. I think we need to bleed them in. You know, God forbid we see us up 2-0 up or 3-0 up with 20 minutes left. That's the time to get them in, get the confidence, get used to playing in the pressures of 60,000 people behind you. Make mistakes when you can afford to, when you're not going to cost West Ham the game. Don't just start them and then they're like a rabbit in the headlights. And if they don't play to the levels we want them to, never see him again. We've got to manage this right, because it's like we said, they smashed it in the academy, they've smashed it out on loan. If we don't then give them opportunities, what is the point of having an academy? David Sullivan's so obsessed with money, you might as well wrap it up and save the money you're spending on it.
It's very true in what you're saying there. What are you expecting this season, Dave?
If I'm honest, I genuinely do believe that our prayers are not going to be answered on the back of one transfer window. I think this could take 2 or 3 summer transfer windows to get us to where we need to be. So to be brutally honest, and again, I hate to sound like a pessimist, I genuinely think the objective next season is to stay up. I know it's grim. It's grim. And I'm someone that 9 times out of 10 sets the bar too high. I'm guilty of that. And I think with West Ham being the club that we are, we should be up there in knocking top 6 contention and be back in Europe every year. The reality is, I think there's too many issues at West Ham at the moment that's going to see us comfortably avoid relegation. We could be in another scrap.
Whenever we say that, though, West Ham fans, we always have a better season than we always think.
Let's hope so.
Yeah,
Let's hope so.
The only thing I will say on that, though, Mitch, is that things are cooking off the field, and nothing's really happening on the field until we start seeing it in full production. Do you know?
If you want to be, I've been quite positive recently, and I was doom and gloom a few weeks back. But I do think the reports of the training sessions being good, good positivity in the air. The fact I thought we played with really good energy in the friendly game on Sunday, and obviously I know it was only a behind closed doors game, but the fact we obviously beat Ipswich yesterday 2-0. There's little signs, and I think the attitude as well seems to be a lot better, and I think that was one of the biggest problems last year as well.
Yeah, I think the balance, something you just said there, and I do agree with you. I think Potter's trying to get the balance right. Amount of times I used to come on here doing an afterthought, and he was either gone too attacking, too defensive, and the balance was all over the gaff. So I do agree with you on that.
Strong dressing room is incredibly underrated.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point. I'm seeing a lot of smiles, a lot of people who's happy. I just think he needs help. And the problem is, and I don't know whether you agree on this, Dave, or not, if he starts slow, the fan base are going to be on Potter, and then Sullivan's going to get that pass that he always gets because everyone's focusing on the manager or the head coach, and they're basically giving Sullivan a pass, really.
I don't think they will. I don't think they will this season. I think already the concerns are with David Sullivan. I think people have literally got to a point where, okay, we had Moyes and it was a car crash towards the end, got rid of him. What do we do? Get another free transfer in. That was a car crash, got rid of him. What do we do? Get another free transfer in. This all sits with Sullivan, and the more conversations West Ham fans are having with each other about not wanting to go to the stadium and a heartbreaking decision to give up a season ticket, for example, it's all because of decisions that David Sullivan is making, whether it's signing off on players, providing enough money to sign them in the first place, or signing the manager that is really in charge of a very difficult job with a very difficult group of players. So I think West Ham fans recognise that. I think they will see that it's a pattern here. It's not necessarily the appointments, it's the man making the appointments. And that's why I think we could see protests against Sullivan before we see protests against Potter, in my opinion.
And we got to make sure all that energy that's being spent on that goes in the right direction. Because in the space the other day, we were talking about all this, and it's basics, right? Like, you can talk all you want, but actions speak louder than words. And all the times that we have protests and all that, there have been certain like hiccups and like people saying, oh, as West Ham as me, or I was there in the 70s and the 80s. Where were you? We all can't help when we're born, where we're born. Yada, yada, yada. The only thing that's important is that we all come together, use that energy, and put it in the right direction for one common cause that we all have, something that we're all united on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, not all of us. Some fucking cunts out there.
Yeah, there is. I must admit,
you never let the vocal minority win.
I'm going to be honest, there is a few people still coming at me saying about Sullivan and telling me how great he is, and I don't know what they're seeing, but right, before we come towards the end, boys, any final questions for Dave? Anything you want to ask him?
Yeah,
I would say, go on, Mitch. Go on,
Mitch. Get stuck in, son.
I can't take it off.
Come on, Mitch. Come on, Mitch.
All right, thank you, Joe. Sorry, mate. Dave, obviously, I'm not sure if you heard anything about the game yesterday, but I've not seen anything. Do you know, by any chance, about any good performances in the behind closed doors game yesterday?
I don't actually. That's probably one for X. In all seriousness, I had a fucking proper full-on day yesterday, so I don't have the answers. I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
All right.
Situation, Mitch. Out of sort of what the links that we've seen so far, Dave, for potential incomings, who's the one player you would like to see us sign over anyone else?
I think it'd be Elliot from Liverpool. I think when you look at how desperate we are for that youth, that energy, and he's got a good attitude as well, and he's homegrown. And I actually don't think, as usual, we're dithering over the price. I think that's a fair price that they're looking for, Liverpool, to be honest with you. And I like him. So I think it would be him. He'd be my go-to. I'd try everything I could to make that happen.
Couldn't disagree, really.
I've got a question for you, Dave. How do you find doing the podcast and, because obviously when you're involved in the West Ham world of social media and you do events and everything, you speak to people, how do you find it in regards of the sort of the positive and negative of it?
I heard it's all sunshine and roses.
It fucking ain't.
That's what I dreamed it would be. That's what I dreamed it would be. To be honest with you, 10 years ago, when I started this podcast with X, and I turned it down 5 times. That's how stupid I was. I just didn't think anyone would listen to it. But thanks to X and the following that he had, we instantly had listenership, and it just took off from there. And it's been a crazy journey for 10 years. But I just thought talking about West Ham with your mates going to be fun, and it's been amazing. It really has been incredible. Some of the opportunities that we've had. We've travelled the world with each other. We've released a book. We've made a living out of what we do now, which is something I'm very proud of. And we created a fantastic community on Patreon, which is a nice break from social media. So there's a lot of positives. And obviously, if you'd have told an 8-year-old Dave Walker that you'd be spending most of your time interviewing ex-players, and many of which you call your friend now, I'd say you were mad. So that's the positive side of things. It's been brilliant. And to do it all with your best mate, it's been even better. The downside of it is something that I never really saw coming, to be honest with you, because when you look at the trolls and the negativity, you'd think that me and X were like convicted paedophiles or animal abusers, or we've got control of the fucking Gaza Strip or something. We're only fucking West Ham fans talking about terrorists. West Ham. And I don't, with X especially, I mean, look, he gets a lot more than I do. And I feel sorry for him. And I will say this, and I'm kind of pleased you've asked me this question, because honestly, he is the nicest geezer on the planet, X. Like, he's a proper straight goer, wouldn't hurt a fly, would do anything for anyone, loves his family and West Ham, of course. But because he's so nice, he's also very sensitive. And the wrong uns on social media, I think, take advantage of that. And it hurts him differently to how it hurts me. So I don't get upset. I don't get hurt. I just get angry because I just think, you fucking sad bastards, like, get a life. Go and spend some time with your missus or your kids. Take the fucking dog for a walk. You know what I mean? You're a grown man and you're trolling people online. And I feel sorry for him because, bless him, because he's such a lovely geezer, he just wants to be friends with everyone. So when he gets some of the unbelievable shit that he gets, he just doesn't deserve it. To be honest, I think it's a blessing that we've got him, because as West Ham fans, if I didn't know X, I'd lap up everything that he does. Because back in the day, there used to be something called Club Call, where you'd pay £5 a minute to hear what was going on. So to hear £5, and this is the other thing that makes me laugh, without plugging Patreon, sometimes people say £5 transfer news. No, it's not. It's podcasts, it's articles, it's monthly quizzes, it's fucking match day tickets, it's discussion, it's community, it's Telegram, and it's exclusive news about West Ham, to include transfers. So, it's a bit of a shitstorm, and I will take this opportunity, and I wasn't too sure whether to say this or not. The latest rat to jump out the sewer is actually a fellow content creator, which is disappointing. And I won't name him because he'd love that. I think you're all going to guess who it is anyway. He's a serial attention seeker. I'm actually sure he's happy when things are not going well at West Ham, because I think it gives him the ammunition to shout, rant and rave like a fucking lunatic, like he always does. Car crash content, a bit like Arsenal fan TV, if you like, And I think he fancies himself for a bit of an ITK these days, because he's always going on about all these fucking really good sources he's got. From what I've heard, he hasn't got a single thing right. And then that's when you get all the memes and the videos and all that. And listen, I don't watch the videos. I can't sit through that shit, right? But people send me clips taking the piss out of him and that. And I find it comical. But then recently, he's gone in on X. And it's almost like he's decided to start bullying X for some reason. I don't know why. And one of the things he said was something like, anyone that makes money out of West Ham related content is scum and pond life. Yeah. And he's obviously having an indirect dig at us. I would love him to go and say that to Gary Firmager, who sold Overland and Sea for what, 30 odd years, home and away at £3 a pop. Fucking hell, good luck with that one. That would be good content. He wouldn't be so fucking mouthy then. So he's talking bollocks for a start. And the ironic thing is, right, this is a man who, from what I'm told, is a walking contradiction. And he says all of that on a fucking monetized YouTube channel with a coffee sponsor associated to it. That's how clever this cunt is. And as for being David Sullivan's puppets, I mean, fucking hell, he obviously doesn't listen to our show because we constantly slag him off all the time. But I promise you, when it comes to ITKs, X is a million miles from Sullivan's puppet. So, unfortunately, chaps, it does come with the territory. I'm answering your question, but I'm not going to sit here and complain because at the end of the day, I wouldn't change what I do for the world. But if I have to put up with some fucking jealousy rage from strangers along the way, then I will. Fuck them, you know. But I felt like I had to say that because one thing I don't like is bullies and idiots.
No, well, you can say what you like, Dave. Like, the one thing with me is I allow anyone on this platform to say what they want. You know what I mean? So, you know.
Damien on the other day.
That's your opinion, and that's it, basically. The only thing I will say is when these people are moaning about a £5, fucking hell, do you know how much a price of a fucking pint of lager is now?
Yeah, but these are also people that are probably spending £15 a day on fags. This is what makes me laugh. You know what I mean? It's £5 not being funny. I know times are hard, but it is. I sound like I'm moaning now. It is almost insulting when you look at the amount of effort and time we put into this for someone to turn around and ultimately say, "I don't think you're worth a £5." But then do you know what? That's the key as well. All these trolls that are saying £5 for this, £5 for that. We're not the fucking Inland Revenue. You don't have to pay it. So get over it. Fucking stop talking about it. Because to be honest, the more they talk about it, the more free marketing it gives us. Because people are like, fucking hell, I've got to see what all the fucking hassle's about. And then they go and visit our page.
You wait till next year when he ups it to a tenner. Fuck that. Fuck me. Yeah. You know what I mean? Plus that. There you go.
Pin that on for that one.
Yeah. Dave, thank you very much for coming on, mate. I really do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. It really has.
I've been trying to get you on for the last few weeks and things have got in the way, but finally got you on here. Go over and follow Dave and what he's doing over on the West Ham Way podcast. Smash a like on the video, subscribe to E20 Zone TV, hit notification bell. I'll be back probably tomorrow to see what's going on in the West Ham world, see if Callum Wilson's going to fucking turn up at our club. But we can dream of good players. But Dave, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on. Boys, as always, take care of yourselves out there. Much love to you all. Keep the faith. Peace.